Voodoo #1, written by Ron Mars, art by Sami Basri. Now, I want you to put your head in the mind space of DC editorial. How do you get a DC reader base to read a Wildstorm book that's just been folded in about a woman? Now, comic books, their audiences are pretty, male-oriented, so how do you get that 12 to 18 demographic? Well, you set the whole thing in a strip club, following a stripper, and you don't really shy away from all of it. Okay, so that's, I gotta tell you, like, first page, man, they show you exactly what you're getting into. This is gonna be a short one to recap, though, because I could just say sexy, 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 and that's about 95% of it. So, we're in a strip club. We are following this woman whose stage name is Voodoo, because she's the most popular girl at the club named Voodoo. So she gets to be named Voodoo. There are two government agents who are watching her perform her show. Fallon and Evans. Evans is a man who is super into the show, whereas Fallon is not so keen on it, being a woman who sees it as completely unnecessary for them to be there when they can be doing research from afar. Fallon gets sick of it, goes back to the room, whereas Evans keeps on enjoying the show. He eventually talks to one of the waitresses, asks for some information about the dancer, and after bribing her a little bit, discovers that her real name is Priscilla. So then we cut to outside. Fallon, he's going back to her room. She accidentally nudges some frat boys, I guess, who are trying to get into the club. They ask for an apology from her, then start hitting on her, then ask for an apology when she talks smack back to them. And she throws a punch, she fights them all off, and then she takes a drag on a cigarette. Cut back to the strip club. We're now in the changing room, and yes, it is exactly as exploitative as you'd think it would be. All the strippers are talking, and someone's babysitter canceled, and they need someone to cover. They ask Priscilla if she's available, and she's like, "No, that's not really why I'm here. I'm not really a good fit for that." And she's like, "Hey, if you're part of this, you're part of our family. Well, like, some of us are here to pay rent. Some of us are here to go to college. What are you here for?" And she's like, "I'm here to learn about men, because that's a normal thing to want to do." And they're like, "Well, yeah, you're going to learn a lot about men here." She gets called in for a private dance. Someone wanted only her, and it is Evans. He's sitting in the chair, and he's like, "All right, let me hear all about you," as she is continuing to perform her dance. And she lists off this fake story after he pressures her enough of her real name is Priscilla Kitane. Mother's dead, never knew her father. Not easy for a mixed race kid like her to fit in anywhere. Ended up in New Orleans, making more money here than waiting tables. Military base, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of stuff. They're next to a military base, by the way. So he's like, cool. So none of that's true. In actuality, you're an alien. You either got cosmetically changed to look like this, or more likely you have shape-shifting abilities. You also probably have a very mild telepathic link, which you're using to read the minds of people here at a military base so that you can learn some weaknesses and invade. So you can probably tell what I'm thinking right now. And he tells her basically how the surgeons at the military base are going to cut her open once he brings her in. So he's like, "So we can do this the easy way or the hard way? How do you want to do it?" There's a little cutaway here about Fallon's in the room trying to call Evans, just apologizing for storming out. But when the surgeon thing happens, Priscilla freaks out, transforms back into her normal form, which the best way I can describe it is like 50% lizard person, 50% fish person. it's just a green with a lot of teeth. But she slashes his throat in the private room, gets dressed, walks out saying that she quit, and then immediately shapeshifts into Evans and calls Fallon back and saying, hey, yeah, I'll be right over. Wow, this was exploitative. Like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, I said Catwoman felt a little bit, Wow, this was a whole nother level. And I get it's part of her character. You know, I get it's like people letting their guard down around her. It makes sense story-wise, but just like 85% of the art is like the entire time that they're expositing this plot, she never stops her private dance for the guy. It's something. It's something. Overall, the story, I like how it's going to set up. It's just an invasion of the body snatchers sort of scenario. You got shape-shifting and whatnot. It's a good mystery coming forward. The art looks good, and the art looks good. So overall, I'm going to give this a 6.5. It's good. It's fine. It feels a little exploitative, but overall, I'm looking forward to where it's going to go from here. So yeah, Voodoo, oddly enough, is not half bad.